Happy Friday! So today, as I said last time, we are going to work on our 5-star writing checklist now. So we made sure our writing had all the components of our how-to books. Today, we are going to make sure our writing is the best it can be. So 5-star writing. Let's look it over before we start using it for my how-to book. We have to make sure that the first letter of my sentence is capitalized. That means it's a big letter, not a small one. All right? The next one is to make sure that it has finger spaces. So my words shouldn't be crumpled all together, right? I have to make sure there's spaces so we know there's separate words to read. Then I have to make sure my writing is nice and neat so my readers can read it. And fourth, it has to make sense. So, right, we said things like dog, garbage, calendar. That doesn't make sense. That's not a sentence. But I can see the dog. That is a sentence. That makes sense. So we need to make sure that our writing makes sense. And last, we have to make sure that there's an ending punctuation. I've been reminding you in these videos to put a period at the end. The reason I'm saying period and not question mark or exclamation point is because right now we are using our how-to books to give information. We're telling people stuff. So we're going to use a period. And a period looks like a little dot on the bottom, like this. All right, so I'm going to show you using my writing, and then you'll do it for homework. All right, let's get started. Here is my 5-star checklist. So first is the first letter capitalized? So we're going to go through all of my pages and make sure the first letter is capitalized. Let's see. The first letter is F, and yes, it is capitalized. The first letter is T, and yes, it is capitalized. My first letter is N, and yes, it is capitalized. On page 4, my first letter is T, and yes, it is capitalized. Page 5, my first letter is L, and yes, it is capitalized. So number 2, we forgot to check it off. Do you have finger spaces? All right, let's check this out. Yes, I do for page 1. Page 2. Yes, I do for page 2. Page 3. Yes, I do for page 3. Page 4. I also do for page 4. And my last page, page 5. Let's make sure. Yes, I do. All right, next one is your handwriting neat? Make sure my readers can read it. So we're going to read it. First, I rinse my hands. Well, it's neat enough for my readers to read, right? Then I get soap. Yes, it is nice and neat. Page 3. Next, I scrub my hands. Again, nice and neat. My readers can read, I can read it. Page 4. Then I rinse my hands. Yes, again, nice and neat. And last page. Last, I dry my hands. Yay, it's all nice and neat. So we get to check it off and go to the next one. Does your writing make sense? We're going to read all the sentences again and make sure that they are making sense. So, first I rinse my hands. Does that make sense? Yeah, it tells you to rinse the hands. Then I get soap. Does that make sense? Yeah. Next, I scrub my hands. Yep, it makes sense. Page 4. Then I rinse my hands. Yes, that makes sense as well. And 5. Last, I dry my hands. Yay, it all makes sense. So we get to check that off and move to the number 5, the last one. Is there an ending punctuation? Let's make sure there's a period on all of my pages. First, I rinse my hands. Yep, there is a period. Then I get soap. Yes, there's a period. Next, I scrub my hands. Yes, there is a period right there. Then I rinse my hands. Yep, there is a period. And the last page. Last, I dry my hands. Well, there is a period here. Can you see it? It's kind of small. Yeah, there is. All right, so I went through my 5. I checked them all off, and I am done using my 5-star checklist. Thank you for helping me make my writing better using the 5-star writing checklist. So just like we use the how-to checklist, that's what I want you to do for homework. I'm going to post on Seesaw that 5-star checklist, and I want you to look over your writing. Every time you go over each thing, I want you to put a check mark. So when you go over your writing and you look for the first letter and make sure it's capitalized, afterwards I want you to put a check mark. All right, when you have all your checks, that's when I want you to submit it onto Seesaw. All right, so the checklist is on Seesaw just like last time, but I don't want you to submit it until you have all your checks on there and you've used it to make your writing better. All right, I will see you next week. Have a good weekend.